transformation. And that comes with a number of challenges, but I am really excited about the opportunity that this new normal presents. If we consider, for example, what remote working opens up, that enables Caribbean people from their own countries to be employed to any country around the world. And think about the Caribbean becoming a hub for digital solutions with global relevance, so we can transcend our developing economy status. That's my vision for what the new normal presents. So I'm really excited about this hackathon. I am grateful for all the sponsors and partners that have come on board to share their own challenges and to allow our brilliant persons across the region to contribute to creating solutions. The response from hackers has been tremendous. Over 400 individuals responded to the invitation, and we're truly grateful. So welcome, hackers. We're looking forward to the solutions you will share. We commend you for demonstrating your love for country and local businesses and a desire to help. Allow me to applaud and welcome not just the persons participating from Jamaica, but those from Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, and Antigua and Barbuda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In closing, I just want to say to all the participants to dream big. Let's not think about just how we can make the Caribbean better, but also how we can make the world a better place. Thank you. Do enjoy your time hacking, and we look forward to reviewing your innovative solutions. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you very much, Nadine. And Nadine spoke about our vulnerability coupled with our resilience and our ingenuity and our ability to innovate as Caribbean people. And that is very strong. It's a part of our DNA as Caribbean nationals. So I'm looking forward to the output that we'll get out of our HACK-CELERATE. And I'm very excited about what we'll see unfold. And I'd also like to welcome now our minister, who is also celebrating her birthday. I want to welcome her as she shares with us a few words. Minister, welcome.
Hello, good morning. Minister Fable Williams will be with you shortly. She's just coming over. Just 1 second, please.
Okay, thank you, no problem. So while the minister comes across, just want to say a few things about the hackathon. We have over 60 teams that are participating, and they have some exceptional talent. And we are very excited. Nadine spoke about the categories that they are innovating in, and we're very excited about the output. And we know that as Caribbean people, we're not new to managing disasters. It's a part of how we innovate daily. I've seen quite a few videos of people across the Caribbean how we're managing this crisis. And you know, we don't even call it a pandemic anymore, we're calling it a pandemic, or are we planning through the crisis? So we've inserted that L in the pandemic, right? And it's just so exciting how even the little children and the teachers, how they're managing now to ensure that learning still takes place, and that we understand that learning is not just a syllabus, but learning still takes place. Minister, very happy to see you. And
thank you.
From the NCB family. And thank you very much for being able to share with us today.
Sure.
Happy birthday also.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
I feel like if we were in a room, we'd be singing. But you know, I don't think because we're not in the same space should prevent us from singing. And I'm not a big singer, but I want to invite all the panelists to join me as we sing for about a few seconds. I don't want to sing alone, but I'm gonna start it. Don't want me to sing alone. I enjoy singing, but I'm not a big singer. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Minister.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, over to you, Minister.
Sure. It is my pleasure to join the NCB and Innovate 10X and your many partners as you stage this digital hackathon. I'm aware that we have teams from Antigua, Trinidad and Tobago, and Haiti who are participating in this hackathon, and this bodes well for building resilience and technological capacity in the Caribbean. I'm always in support of initiatives such as this, which presents avenues for students from our universities and high schools to ideate, create, and innovate. And every time I'm invited to be at a hackathon, I say yes, because it is teaching our young people how to collaborate with each other. It is enabling them to generate ideas. It is causing them to think about real life problems and how we bring solutions to those problems. So I believe this hackathon is timely, as it is aimed at identifying and developing solutions that can have a positive impact on the society, especially as we live through this unprecedented COVID-19 global pandemic that has disrupted our systems and procedures. But some of these disruptions are causing us to rethink how we do what we do. Businesses that never thought their employees could work from home are realizing that they can work from home. And meetings and classes are being conducted in a virtual environment. As a government, we spent more than $23 billion in COVID-19 relief. The various grants were done electronically, which has opened up significant opportunities for the unbanked to become banked, something we've been grappling with for a while. But this presented such an opportunity for the unbanked that I'm sure the next time we look at that index, we will see how significantly we have improved. This experience with COVID-19 has forced us to rethink and reimagine the possibilities for our people, our country, and our economy. And so I want to say to the young people on this morning, science and technology are crucial to our fight against COVID-19 and the social issues that we're grappling with. I'm passionate about leveraging our youth, leveraging the power of science to develop solutions that guarantee a better quality of life for all citizens. And I want to say, and I'm sure the business heads that are on this morning, you know that there's a huge market opportunity locally and globally to innovate in order to improve outcomes and reduce costs across a lot of different industries. We have not begun to scratch the surface. The work, just to pick an industry, the work being done in the creation of healthcare and business solutions by our young innovators is truly heartening. And I have two examples that I recently became aware of. Xavier Bryan, second-year electronics and computer science student at the University of the West Indies. He developed a prototype of a patient monitoring system, which would allow doctors to monitor patients remotely. And then there's Rayan Stewart, a final year student in the School of Computing and Information Technology at the University of Technology, who has developed an invention called Zermasol. And it's a simple to install device that automatically disinfects doorknobs and handles after each use. These young Jamaicans are demonstrating that now is the time for solutions, and now more than ever, our people must become creators and innovators instead of being mere consumers of technology. So young people, all, an important lesson that this experience has taught us is that the future is indeed digital. Science, technology, and innovation must become major linchpins to support our development and every sector of our country. As a ministry, we are taking bold steps to strengthen our ICT infrastructure to ensure that Jamaica enters the digital future with modern legislation, and that all our citizens will have access to the internet and information and communication technologies. And you will hear that repeated in the days and months ahead. So the data protection legislation was recently passed in the lower house of Parliament to broaden the rights of our citizens and ensure confidentiality of their personal data in a significantly transformed technological landscape. We recognize that the protection of data is integral in an increasingly connected world, which makes this legislation not just crucial for our citizens, but also businesses, such as the ones that are sponsors of this event today. As you create new and innovative customer service experiences and technological opportunities for our young people, the data generated must be protected. And under this regime, we all can be assured of some degree of protection. Here in government, we're increasing access to public services with the MyGovJM app. It's a series of citizen engagement apps that we will begin to launch that will improve the communication between citizens and government. It will allow citizens to report on issues. It will allow them to follow the issues to see how they are being resolved. And we are committed to ensuring that our citizens move up the digital curve, that they continue to use more and different applications, and that we improve just the adoption of technology among our citizens and among our businesses. We're rolling out, as some of you are well aware, the National Public Key Infrastructure Project, which will propel us towards becoming a truly digital society. One further step in doing that, it will enable encryption of documents, and so government will have the confidence in documents that they receive online. This project will enable trusted electronic identities for people, services, and make it possible to implement strong authentication, data encryption, and digital signatures based on a certifying authority. So that work is going on. The consultancy was signed. They're in the planning phases now. We're expecting that by the end of this year, that implementation will be completed, taking us a step further in terms of our digital future. COVID-19 has brought into sharp focus the need to make access to the internet a right for every citizen. And we're committed to making this a reality for all Jamaicans. I'm sure you heard the Minister of Education, Youth and Information lament the fact that when schools were closed and students were required to be at home, thousands of students were without access to the internet. There were some solutions brought to bear, but in the end, it had to be a manual solution for many of those students. And so you can imagine the focus that is there now to ensure access, affordable access for all Jamaicans. While we have experienced some challenges with COVID-19, I want Jamaica to know that the COVID setback is not a step back. Where there are challenges, we see opportunities. Where there is lack, we see plenty. And where there are impossibilities, we see tremendous possibilities. To all the participants that will be taking part in this hackathon, you are among some of the brightest minds that will lead Jamaica and the Caribbean into the digital future. The time is calling for innovators to take their place, and I urge you to answer the call. The technological landscape is teeming with tremendous career possibilities. In fact, the World Economic Forum estimates that in the next 10 years, 9 out of 10 jobs will require digital skills. With the fourth industrial revolution already taking shape, and automation, machine learning, and innovation being the order of the day, skills in software, apps and web development, cybersecurity, and I underscore that, cybersecurity and many technology-related fields will be in great demand. Never stop learning, never stop improving, never stop believing in yourselves, because anything is possible. It is your ideas, your creativity, and your solutions that will build Jamaica's resilience and create opportunities for this country to play its part in the advancement of the whole human race. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a crucial juncture in our history. We're just 10 years away from the year 2030, which is a landmark year for Jamaica's development. We've all been focused on moving our country forward to a developed status by 2030. The time to prepare for the technological revolution is now. And so I must commend NCB, One-on-One Educational Services, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Innovate 10X, Jamaica Constabulary Force, Next Gen Creators, and the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce for this timely initiative. In many ways, you're helping to build the innovative capacity of our people as we strive to become the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. I wish you tremendous success with this hackathon, and I look forward to seeing the development of these solutions at the national level as we work together to create a prosperous Jamaica. And may I add that on the issue of a prosperous Jamaica, I want you all participants to think about the commercialization viability or prospects of the product that you're generating. I know you're in a hackathon, you are competing, you're working collaboratively, you're thinking about solutions. Think global in what you do. We want ideas and products that have the potential to be revenue generating. Don't shy away from that thought. That is how millionaires and billionaires are born. They put their energies into products and services that other people find useful enough to pay for it. And we ought to inculcate that in you as you develop. This is not just about having fun. It's about solving society's problems, but solving it with solutions that, as I said, people will find useful and they will pay for it. That is how we'll develop young entrepreneurs. We need our list of millionaires and billionaires in Jamaica. And we should not shy away from that thought. Many countries have their list. We want ours. We have some persons already, but we want more on that list. We want to see some young people, young entrepreneurs with products that captivate the globe. It's possible. Just because we live in a country that's considered, geographically small, and we have a population that's about 3 million or so, it doesn't prevent us from having these great, grand ideas that we can develop on. So I challenge you this morning to work towards that prosperous Jamaica, that work towards products that can sustain themselves. Believe me, you will get tremendous joy out of doing that. Thank you so much. Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Williams. And Mr. Williams, you made some very strong points. And I know that our groups who are participating, I've heard what you said, to not just be consumers, but also be creators of the technology. And I didn't know about Xavier Bryan, and I'm very happy about what you said, that he has built a prototype for doctors to monitor patients remotely, as well as even the other university student who has built something that can automatically disinfect. So that is showing innovation at work, and that our young people are actively identifying the pain points and recognizing that those are opportunities. And this is what we need all participants to focus on, the commercial viability of the solutions for the pain points. So thank you very much, Minister, for sharing with us today We really appreciate it and appreciate that words that you brought to us. All right, so thank you, Minister. So as we know, HACK-CELERATE is specially designed so that we can garner solution for some of the issues faced in financial services, education, security, retail, manufacturing industries, and medical. So at this time, we'll be inviting representatives from each of these industries to share briefly with us for 3 to 5 minutes about the problems that are being faced so the hackers can be better guided in the solutions that they will provide. So I'd like to take this time to welcome Major General Anthony Anderson, Commissioner of Police.
Hi, good morning, Minister, morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thanks, Gregory, for hosting this and getting us and involving us in it. It's really good. Also, I think we have Nadine Blair, also from NCB, and other partners, participants, and of course, all the persons involved in the hackathon. Good morning to you all, and this is really, I'm really happy that we could be a part of it. So, and certainly for all of the young people who are involved in this, it really gives you an opportunity to support one of these areas of our country, or one of these sectors, of which obviously security is one that constantly needs attention and support in many regards. We're actually pursuing an aggressive technology-based drive for modernization, connectivity, and efficiency. And we're already seeing some of the results. We have over 21 major technology projects running simultaneously now. And to do that, we've had to create an entire technology branch within the force. And that's really the engine for the technological change in the force. And certainly they should give up participants, whoever decides to take on our problem set, an opportunity to be a part of the transformation of what's your police force. I think the police force, your police force, that's the only one we have in Jamaica. And so we have to make it the best police force we possibly can. So there are two issues that we thought, beyond, among all of the issues that we have and all of the modernization processes, there are two issues that we'd like to throw out there. One is how we allow the public to share information with us in an easier way, and possibly us share it with the public, whether it is an issue that they've seen, whether it is crime, whether it is that they need to geolocate something that's happening somewhere. We want to make it easy so that somebody, if they see something, they don't have to do a lot of typing, they just send something to us, it's geolocated, and we know that something's going on. Also, if they have a complaint, commendation, whatever, just an enhanced way in which we can interface with the public. That's one of them. Even things like, at the moment, most shooting that takes place, as long as if it doesn't hit anyone, we don't hear about it at all. Whereas people, it may be happening around people, nobody's being hit, and we want to know that it's happening, because that can become a hotspot for us. It also allows us to turn up, even though the crime hasn't been committed yet, or certainly the violence hasn't happened yet, and we can turn up there because we see a concentration of this in that space. So it's almost a cheap version of ShotSpotter and some other things, all combined. So that's one of the problems. Second one is about our own health and wellness of our members. It has been, we have to introduce fitness and wellness standards, and really you go to wellness and you go to fitness and combine those. How do we get our members to be able to track their own. We can track their wellness, fitness, but also there is a means of almost an alert system that you can reach out to a professional for either a physical health matter, a mental health matter, or a sort of pastoral counseling matter. We have some of those, we have all of those services internally, but this mechanism could allow us to access volunteer professionals, or even some sort of scheme of how we access other professionals other than our own, but we have a limited number to support this access to health and wellness professionals and also track our thing. Now we know that there are lots of great tracking apps out there already, but that's the problem. However, you wish to solve it, it would be great for us, at least to get some thought around. So that's it from us. Those are the two ones: information sharing, public, both ways, health and wellness for our members. Those are the two. Thanks.
Commissioner, I really appreciate that. So the focus should be on the geolocation and assistance and the unreported crimes, how to get information for unreported crimes, as well as the health and wellness of your members. Thank you very much. Okay, we also want to welcome Nevada Poe from Private Sector Organization of Jamaica now. Thank you, Nevada. And Nevada, you may be on mute or unable to hear you. And Nevada will share for 3 to 5 minutes about the points being experienced. Nevada.
Okay. Can you hear me now? All good?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Minister, also Blair and Commissioner, thank you, and everybody else. Thank you for seeing us. All right, the PSOJ issue. What we are looking for is a national virtual waiting line system. With the COVID pandemic, has changed the nature of retail. So this we put under the retail sector, right? Social distancing and sanitary concerns are more important now, obviously, than before. Now, all of us have seen the images of crowds waiting in line for the tax office, for Western Union, for banks. And while we fight this COVID contagion, and we will be fighting it for a few years, gathering crowds is not a welcome sight. And many of us won't feel safe, and it actually won't protect the country. So here is the issue. Can we create a virtual stand-in-line system where patrons could reserve their spot in line virtually rather than actually stand in line physically? So it needs to be, obviously, because of all the various education levels of our society, it needs to be very easy to use technologically and very easy to access. It should appeal to a mass audience as a significant improvement over the current options. So I shouldn't feel like I'm going to be delayed because I'm not there, but feel very comfortable that by signing up virtually, it is as good as joining a line physically. It may or may not require the specific sign up of any company where people might stand in line, but leave that to you guys to consider. And when and how might the system alert those waiting virtually that it's time to come and join the physical line, right? So this whole idea of the national waiting line or national appointment system. How might this system help with appointments, even for industries where appointments were not the way these sectors did business before, right? Maybe a supermarket on a Saturday, you don't usually think about making an appointment for a supermarket, but because the supermarket could be full, yeah, you could end up making an appointment to go to the supermarket. And therefore you don't have to stand in line either inside or out, right? What data would be needed on the establishment that people are waiting for? What data might be needed on the service being delivered at the establishment? What data might you need on traffic conditions, right? Or data needed about the people waiting, if any at all, leaving that open. So what are the data issues involved? What about security and privacy risks? How do we protect that? How do we make sure that because I'm using the line system, not everybody knows that I'm using the line system, right? Because I don't want anybody to know exactly where I am necessarily, but somehow the system has to also track to make sure I'm moving along to the thing that I requested. How might people break or cheat the system? And how we're going to mitigate against that. We always worry in Jamaica about bandulo, right? And we love to find a way necessarily around a system. Well, what are the ways in which somebody could break this system, and what can we think about around that? As the minister talked about, monetization, right? Where might the opportunities be for monetization? Think about who would pay, whether it's ad supported or people may pay to get early in line, or what might be the ways in which people might actually pay to use this particular service, right? We are encouraging our hackathon participants to think end to end, right? I want to go somewhere. How do I join the virtual line? How will I be alerted with sufficient lead time that I must go and actually get there physically? What happens when I get inside? What happens when I leave? What do I have to do? How do I get out of the line once there, right? So I think very much end to end from somebody who's using this service. Additionally, what other platforms might you need to interface with? You know, we encourage the hackathon participants to think about what other systems, right, are you going to be depending on? Is it the phone system? Is it the online? Is it what other system, your Facebook? What other things might, and what's needed from these systems and platforms? And we also want the hackathon participants to think about what we call what if scenario planning, right? What if, for example, what if I was planning to go somewhere and signed up for the line, but changed my mind? Or what if I got stuck in traffic and missed my time? What are the other problems that might arise, and how would the system deal with this? So again, the whole idea is a national virtual wait in line system to make sure that we don't see going forward those things we saw outside the tax office, outside Western Union, when people were trying to pick up the compassionate package, that people are able to wait in line virtually and not have to be there physically and risk health issues. That's a problem that we would definitely like to solve locally and regionally, because I'm sure everybody else is going to be dealing with this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Naval. I really appreciate the words that you share. Lead architect for PSOJ SME project. And just to recap, you want a virtual waiting line system that would consider end-to-end, and how can we monetize it, and what regional and global reach that we can ensure that we have, and to factor in the security aspect, as well as any what if I need to so give somebody a skip in the line, probably. Right? So thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And we're now going to continue as we hear in another 3 to 5 minutes from another of our participants. We're going to go to Ricardo Allen, President and CEO, One-on-One Educational Services.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So very happy to be a part of this year's event. For One-on-One was really been spearheading, providing virtual classrooms to students since this pandemic. We have a number of issues, and we really struggled to narrow that down to 2 or 3, right? Over the past 7 years, One-on-One has really made our job of creating personalized online learning spaces for students. By that, what we mean is, we have more or less digitized the entire CSEC curriculum online, where any student in Jamaica or the Caribbean can go online, self-paced learning, and prepare for their CSEC exams. Once done, they can go into an exam room and sit their exams, and we usually get very good pass rate for these students. Now, since the pandemic, we've moved from 20,000 students to 200,000 students. This is as a result of 2 main things. One, the Ministry of Education, Jamaica, partnered with us to create what we call official virtual schools, where every child in Jamaica from grade 1 to grade 13 can access a class between the hours of 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day. Every day we have about 50 classes running from 8 to 3 across all the grade levels. and we have daily active users in excess of about 20,000 users. These are students. Now, here's the problem, folks. In Jamaica, we have in excess of 600,000 students between grade 1 and grade 13. And so the statistics are coming back now to show that there are a number of persons and students who cannot access these classes for one or the other reason. I mean, the truth of the matter is there's a digital divide. And we cannot go on without solving this, because at the end of the day, this digital acceleration will create a broader digital divide if it is not solved and solved quickly, right? We know for September, going back to school, there will be some element of social distancing. There may be e-learning days. There may be blended learning days where some students stay at home and have to do this remotely. And so one of the biggest challenges we're trying to solve is how do we provide for students in rural communities, rural schools, and schools that are not as wealthy as some to participate in this digital classes, these digital classes. And just to pinpoint the exact problem that we're trying to solve, right now we have 20,000 teachers in Jamaica, 4,000 of which are on the platform now, having some classes, right? The additional 16,000 teachers, some of them have found alternative solutions, but some of them simply don't know how to use digital technologies to lead their class, right? So our problem is simple, right? Our problem is, how do we involve rural communities and the communities that are at a disadvantage, schools that are at a disadvantage, to be a part of this blended or virtual learning landscape as we move into September and beyond? And we want to look at that. Specifically, the aim is to identify the gaps and develop strategies to ensure that these students are not left behind as we move digitally. That's problem number one. Problem number two, a subset of this group are our disabled community, right? There are roughly about 27,000 persons who are hearing impaired and perhaps another 30,000 who are visually impaired. How do we get them to engage in online learning when most online learning now is designed for persons with no disabilities? And again, if we don't do this, what's going to happen is the divide is going to widen and someone is going to get left behind. And we'd love to have a solution where we modify the online learning environment to include students who are disabled, visually impaired or hearing impaired, to still partake in the instruction. This may be by way of, for example, having signed language, like for example, the video is playing and someone is signing at the same time. Or it may be, I don't want to, kind of color the responses, but certainly it could be like a signing for someone who is probably hearing impaired and someone who is visually impaired. I'd love to get a solution around that, right? And so that's problem number two. And then finally, challenge number three, as I said, there are a number of them. We zoned in on 3 of them. Problem number 3 is for students who are learning in a self-paced environment. All the mobile companies now have zero rated some element of online learning, but this zero rating only covers content that is pre-recorded. A lot of students, when they're learning from content that's pre-recorded, they want live help and they want it now. And so we want, we have a problem where a number of students are stuck while learning independently and they need someone live to assist them. We want a solution which allows for those students to get on-demand assistance when they need it. So is it that we have a bunch of teachers available on standby where a student clicks a button and one of those students goes live with that student? What is the solution? We can come up with it for over these 3 days, and that's the problem we'd love to solve. Bridging the digital divide and bringing students closer to their teachers online, personal.
Thank you, Ricardo. So in summary, you want to ensure that learning takes place for all students, regardless of any physical impairment or otherwise that they may have. All right, so thank you very much for sharing. We're going to move on to the doctor, Dr. Kia Josina Duncan, who is an ENT at UHWI as well as Bustamante and KPH. Dr. Duncan?
Okay. Morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. Morning, Mr. Williams. Morning, Nadine, Nevada, Sheldon, everyone, participants. So I'm in the healthcare system and we have lots of problems, of course. So I'm zoning on a few. As you know, the main issue with Corona is the exposure of the doctor to the patient, and issue with manpower in monitoring patients. So here are the problems. So one, I'm an ENT doctor and we are very high risk in contracting coronavirus. So I want to know, how can we continue ENT examinations but limit the exposure to ENT doctors to the patient? Two, telehealth is fairly new and people don't necessarily understand it completely. How can we improve it or enhance it, especially in the public health system, where we can make it very simple for patients, simple for doctors, simple for other nurses, so they can understand, they can go on the app or go on the computer and get as simple as possible. Other problems, how can we identify coronavirus patients in our health records? So as you know, we don't have a million tests are limited. So how can we track like possible coronavirus patients in our health records? Other issues with manpower, of course, with people who are in self-quarantine or self-isolation. Is there a way that, yes, there are apps to do where you can do self-monitoring, but most of Jamaican people don't have a smartphone, they don't have access to internet. How can we do this remotely, especially for those who don't have internet access, which is a lot of the population? But those are my problems. And we'll see what we can get for solutions.
Dr. Duncan, thanks for sharing at a very high level. That's some of the challenges in the healthcare. So we're hearing that you want to be able to automate your tracking better, the quarantining and the tracing of the COVID-19 patients, as well as remote assistance, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. So we'll move on to Edda McCoy from Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica, who will be sharing as well. Edda?
Good morning, everybody. And special welcome to our hackathon participants who will be helping us to resolve some of our issues here. Really looking forward to those solutions. I have three that I want to present to the group. The first one has to do with insurance, not so much related to patients who may have coronavirus, but those who are outside of that spectrum. So you may have a patient that has an emergency. Emergencies don't usually happen during 9 to 5. Most tend to happen late at night, on the weekend, and so on, when a lot of the resources are not necessarily available, especially from the end of the insurance. So what will happen, a patient comes in and needs to do a major procedure, and they are unable to find out if their insurance will cover it or how much their insurance. A problem for both the provider and for the patient. Could we have a system that allows the patient to be able to automatically know if their card will cover the procedure and also how much their copay would be? Right, so that is one of them. The other part of that is currently where COVID has forced a lot of us to be working from home, and that also includes the persons with insurance companies. So now they have allowed us to be able to email the claim forms to them. Could it be something that is the norm, that post-COVID, this becomes a norm, that we're able to electronically upload the claim forms and therefore shorten the time? Currently, it takes up to 90 days for a claim to be processed and payment to be made to the provider. Could it be that we use a technological solution that shortens this time so that it benefits both the patient and the provider because it means that they'll be able to get their payment quicker, and the provider will have the peace of mind of knowing that within a short time, they're comfortable that this claim is settled and they're okay and they're good to go. The second problem, which it affects both private, but in particular public hospital, which is a procurement process. So a doctor was sharing with me an incident that he had, requesting items for the cardiology unit. So he asked, they have what they call catheters that are used in interventional procedures, and he needed catheters of different sizes. So say he needed a 6-inch, a 12-inch, and a 1 foot for argument's sake, and he needed 30 in all. So each catheter may come from maybe a different supplier, and each size may have a different cost. So he presented this to the procurement team and said, I need these items. Somebody on the procurement committee thought they were being very smart by getting the best deal on none of the sizes he wanted, but on a 5-inch, and they bought 30 of those. So you can imagine the predicament. So as far as they're concerned, they have fulfilled the order. They're provided 30 catheters at a great deal, not understanding that they haven't satisfied the request from the person who asked them. Could we find a way to digitize this process so that the person who is making the request is able to, I don't know, select it from a Dropbox or something? And it is, it is able to be done in a quicker time, because I gather this process can be quite tedious. It involves somebody having to take the time to sit down and write out all that they need, write out who the supplier is, and so on. If we could digitize this process to make it easy that you go on and you click all these buttons, it's electronically uploaded to the procurement committee. They can review it. They already have the list of possible suppliers, and also they know exactly why this particular item is needed and for what department. That, I think, would be an awesome help. I mean, we have seen it happening during Corona, where a hospital may think that they have masks, and yes, they do have masks, but they don't have enough N95 masks, for instance. So I think that coming out of this, we do see the need to use technology in a more effective way to make sure that we have exactly what we need in the places that we need it and in a timely manner. The last thing also has to do a little bit with inventory. So what we find is if there's an emergency, we have all the medical team, the nurses and the technicians are running around resolving the issue. So they're using equipment, using syringes and all sorts of things. And sometimes at the end of that treatment, the billing office has a problem because nobody has taken the time to say exactly how many syringes, or it's all a manual process. So somebody has to go through manually and tick off and write down everything that is used to treat that patient. Could we find a way that this is done more effectively using, I don't know, an app on the phone or something that helps you to accurately say what is used, the quantities that is used, and in very short order, just be able to upload that to the billing office so that it's a quicker process for the patient. We know one of the touch points in our public health system and in many hospitals, when you go to accident and emergency, for the life of you, you can't understand why is it taking so long for things to be processed. And a big part of that is at the end of your treatment, the person who's supposed to prepare the bill has to now go back to the persons who treated you to find out what did you use here, and to fill in that process. So if we can find a way to use technology, I think we would find the benefits both from the inventory management, which would also help the procurement people, which will also speed up the wait time in an A&E situation, or even if you're doing an in-hospital case. I think that would be less headache for the medical team, having not to double back now and check off, yes, I used that, no, I didn't use all of that sort of thing. So those are my problems. Looking really forward to the solutions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Edo, for sharing about your needs about the improving the efficiency in inventory management, which will impact the procurement, which will impact the patient experience. And we know how difficult it is when patients are in pain and are waiting at the facilities. So I know that this should have a ripple effect around. So I want to invite Nadine Matthews-Blair now to speak about the needs of the financial services.
Good morning again, everyone, and thank you, Gregory. There are a couple of challenges that we would love for our bright minds to think about in terms of financial service. So the first one, Minister Williams spoke to, which is around financial inclusion. And it combines a little bit of what the minister said, but also what Nevada said. How do we create a digital solution that enables our citizens to open accounts and to do that remotely without standing in a long line outside of a branch, and to do that in a way where we still are not putting ourselves at risk of being a blacklisted country. So we would have seen news recently around the importance of AML and complying with that so we can continue to maintain our relationships with our correspondent banking partners. The second challenge is around financial literacy. Many times we stay away from things like stocks and bonds and credit cards and loans simply because we don't understand them. But at various points in our lifetime, these things become important in terms of developing our own path to improving our financial standing. And so what if we had an application, a website, something that made finances very digestible and understandable for the average person across the Caribbean? And engaging. So think gaming and how powerful that has become with not just children, but also adults. So combining those two to create an informed and empowered society in terms of financial services. The third one is around saving. So I think this crisis demonstrated how important it is as individuals, but as businesses, to have something in the bank. And every mickle makes a muckle. So irrespective of what you're making, I believe that there is an opportunity to save even $20 a week. But how do you make that an efficient process if you're literally just saving $20 a week to start? How do we, from a digital standpoint, enable that person who has now opened that account digitally and remotely to put away a little bit every month, every week, depending on what their lifestyle is, so that in the event of hopefully not another pandemic, but any crisis, any change, that they have a little cushion and they can weather the storm. And then finally, this pandemic has an opportunity to create a lot of micro entrepreneurs. But the physical distancing requires that entrepreneurship to look different. So we need to enable those micro entrepreneurs to accept orders digitally, fulfill orders digitally. So what can we create leveraging solutions like WhatsApp, social media, and the various delivery services to enable micro entrepreneurs to have suitable businesses, and then also have them connected with the financial services sector so that they can build, grow, and flourish. I think what we've recognized is that if our customers continue to stay cash driven, then many times that constrains their ability to grow. So we do want them to have a relationship with the financial services sector. So how do we enable that as well? So those are the challenges that I would love for you to take a look at. They all fall broadly under financial inclusion. but we want to make it easy, simple, intuitive, accessible, secure as well. The minister spoke about cybersecurity. People want to feel confident that their money isn't going to disappear. So I'd just like us to bear that in mind as we think about some solutions for financial services. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nadine. And before we go to our last speaker, just want to thank Nadine for sharing about financial inclusion while maintaining our compliance requirements, understanding the services that you can avail of, automating savings, every miko make a muckle, just ensure that we put away something for another crisis in whatever format, and making it easy for micro entrepreneurs to accept payments because business has changed. So I want to move on now to Sheldon Poe, who's our final speaker, will share the pain points. And Sheldon is the founder and CEO for Innovation 10X.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm assuming yes. Yes. Happy birthday again, Minister Favor Williams. Greetings, everybody, all protocol observed. I wanted special thanks to NCB in partnering with us and the other sponsors in making this happen. We're planting a seed here. You know, there's a lot of talent in the room right now between all the participants, judges, mentors, and all the problem statement owners. I'm very pleased having the police commissioner Aniston share his problems as well, because his problems is, you know, is actually related to all of us. So looking forward to getting solutions in that area. Certainly all the other problem statements are very useful. Where I'm coming from, you know, we're just being open at this time. We want people to feel very creative. So if there is a particular service or particular industry that you actually have found a better way of doing it, or you want to develop an app to improve the recovery from COVID, or just improve customer service delivery, we're very open to that. You know, just to collaborate within your team, you know, making new and viable ideas that we can work together to work to bring it to fruition. This could be in the agriculture or farming industry, or what's there to me right now is actually in healthcare with prescriptions. I'm tired of having to go to the doctor and you know, get a physical prescription and go to a pharmacy. Or in supply chain management, there's a shortage in Jamaica right now due to logistics being difficult. So I think in terms of, you know, the whole sharing economy, Uber taught us that. So is there a way that we could identify shortage and see whether maybe some people have surpluses or so forth? Open to out of the box thinking. So as I said, this is an open challenge right now. So if you want to contribute to any industry, any ideas that may not have been mentioned, but you have a particular need that you see can actually help us to recover from COVID, please feel free to share. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sheldon. Well, Akaz, there you have it. The recap of all the problem statements, as well as this recorded video, will be available on the website, HACK-CELERATE.tech. The challenges have been set and the charge is given, and we are now encouraged to put our best foot and solutions forward. We're expecting some great recommendations from the group of over 60 teams. And as Sheldon just said, there's some exceptional talent. So we expect innovation. We expect that you're going to think way out the box and you're going to come up with solutions that are solving the problems that exist. And as the minister indicated, something that will have a global reach and something that we can monetize, right? I want to thank you for joining us this morning. And in closing, I want to extend an invitation for everyone to participate in the closing session scheduled for 4 p.m. on this Saturday, May 30. During this session, our finalists will make their final pitch and the HACK-CELERATE 2020 champions will be announced. And Akaz, please remember to join the HACK-CELERATE prep session scheduled for 10:05 a.m. Refer to your confirmation emails for instructions on how to join. Want to say a big up, bless up, and thanks to all the participants this morning. And Minister Williams, Thanks again and happy birthday. Thank you very much, everyone, and do take care and be safe. The NCB safe.